Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Looking at Sunday's NBA slate here. Going to have a few picks on the card already for you. And I've got my best bet looks for the slate on Sunday as well, showing you exactly how I'm finding, what I'm finding. So if you're interested in learning a bit more about how to find these bets and get some value here on Sunday, definitely go ahead and subscribe to that page. Give that video a like. Let's get right into it. Had to take a day off on Saturday. Hasn't been good the last week or so. So we're looking for Sunday to be that kickstart into the next chapter here of what we're going to see. A little bad 3 and 5 minus 2.3 units there on Friday before the day off. Had the game looking good here for the Celtics. Had the Porzingis bet and the Tatum bet. Got Jordan Poole correct as well. Everything else was bad. Mikal 0 for 9. Couldn't get it going. Didn't take any shots in the second half. We've seen guys who don't make their first, maybe one of their first 7 or 9 shots, sort of stop shooting, get deterred, right? And really just defer to others at that point. That's what happened to Mikal. Paul George on the hook again. Another guy got 3 fouls in the first 2 quarters. Missed about 4 minutes of floor time that he would have gotten without Tyrese Maxey on the floor. It was in that part of the rotation, and that would have meant more assists because he's the lead ball handler. Didn't happen. Got hooked again on that one. Kyle Kuzma, only bet that I super regret here was Kyle Kuzma, to be honest. He just has not looked like himself, and with Jordan Poole back in the lineup, it's just not going to be as many shots for him. So now we're going to move forward and look at Jordan Poole, and even in today's, on Sunday slate, I should say, and really just stay away from Kuz until he looks like Kuz again, which is really only when he's playing without anybody else, specifically Jordan Poole or Malcolm Brogdon. And at least Jordan Poole will be in this game. Malcolm Brogdon is going to be out. But Malik Monk couldn't come through on the boards for plus money, had 3 going into the fourth quarter, couldn't get us one more. And then Yves Missy had 7. He actually had one taken away from him that I still argue was a rebound. And that was a nice game for the Pelicans in that one, but Missy couldn't come up with the boards. There was a lot of them stolen from DeJounte Murray. Not sure how comfortable we should be betting on him overs too often now that all these guys are back for New Orleans. So that's the key takeaway there, but still up 34 units on the season, still trucking towards the 50 that we need over the course of the next 8 games or so to get there halfway through to get to halfway to our goal, I should say, halfway through the season, which is 100 units. So let's go ahead and get kickstarted into that here with what I've got for Sunday. As always, going to be using Props Madness here to go through all the bets that we're going to be looking at. The best tool around to go ahead and find the best value when you're looking at sports betting on the NBA here. So if you do want to sign up, use code LYB, get 25% off your first month. You can also get a 7-day free trial to see if you do like it for yourself as you're getting into things. But hopefully you get something out of what I'm showing you here with it as well. Let's get right into the first game I'm looking at Sunday, which is the Bucks and the Knicks, little 3 p.m. Eastern tip-off. And we do know that Cat's going to be playing in this one. It looks like we have the normal guys in. Normal Miles McBride or Cat on the injury report. What I am looking at here is this low number for Giannis. This is the first bet that I do have on the card. I'm not sure if 10.5 is still around. You can still get a 10.5 on the rebounds for Giannis. If you bet on Pinnacle, you can get it minus 123, minus 155 on Bet365. But at that point, I do think even 11.5 for plus money or even money is a good bet for Giannis on the rebounds. This is it's just an absurd bet, man. Like this dude, even though he's going up against a team that is good limiting rebounds, the Knicks on the season are the best team at limiting rebounds to their opponents. But I mean, this is Giannis, and one of the reasons that this team is really good at limiting rebounds is going to be how well Cat is rebounding, and he's going up against Brolo, leaving Giannis a lot freer to get the rebounds. And that's why I don't like anything for Brolo in this game. He's going to be drawn out to the 3-point line to guard Cat, and then Cat is going to be driving as well, in addition to shooting threes against Brolo, which is going to force Brook Lopez to have to really focus on defending Cat, bring him under the basket, and that's where Giannis comes in and gets some more of those rebounds, right? Plus, if we think Giannis is going to be guarding OG Anunoby, which I do believe will be the matchup once again, that was the matchup in the last game, and this stuff's really, really important for rebounding, is who is guarding who, and you can see that in the box score of the NBA.com on NBA.com of the game that you want to look at. And if you go look at matchups in the box score from this last game that the Bucks played against the Knicks, they did have Giannis and OG matched up so that Giannis could be freer to get rebounds, because OG is really just standing in the corner, and that leaves Giannis closer to the basket. So only 24 points on, I forget how many shots he took, 21 shots, so not even really bad in terms of the field goal percentage, but only 6 free throw attempts. They also lost by 22 points, and he scored, they lost by 22. He scored 24, had 12 rebounds, and he's actually averaging about 35.5 minutes per game on the season. So the fact that he played about 3 to 4 minutes fewer than he normally would, we can kind of bank on this being a little bit better. At least the Bucks have looked better as of late than they did when they played the Knicks on November 8th, and we're still sliding and struggling. That's how they got slammed by 22 points. This one should be closer. Giannis should be in there for 35 to 36. So I think he's good for about 12 to 13 rebounds in this game. Next game looking at here is the Nuggets and the Mavs. And unfortunately, I can't really put a bet down on anybody for the Nuggets right now because while Jokic is going to be playing, he is questionable, I believe, but he still looks like he's going to play. He's more leaning improbable. Murray and Aaron Gordon are both questionable. And I legitimately don't know if either or one or both of them are going to play. So I got to wait to see what happens to bet on any Nuggets players here. But I'm leaning strongly. I want to see what happens to this Jaden Hardy number. I still think he's good for points against this team. You look at how he scores. He gets out into transition. This is one of the most crucial tools and aspects of Props Madness is the ability to scroll down and see the play type analysis. So you can see how well a team defends, what a guy's preference is for how he scores. And for Jaden Hardy, he scores 28% of his points in transition. This Denver team struggled getting back all season, giving up the 10th most points per game in transition. They're also giving up the 3rd most to spot up shooters, which makes sense because they give up the most assists per game. And Jaden Hardy should be available for some threes here. Kind of want to look at his 3-point prop for a sec. So it's down to minus 120. I do think he's good for the threes. Even at minus 120, I still think that's a pretty good number for him. In the last 4 games or so since Kyrie and Luka have been out, 9 3-point attempts, 6, 5, and 4. With both of those guys out. So I do think you've seen him ramp up. He's gotten more minutes, went from 25 down to 21, but then 22 and 29. The 29 minutes against Portland, probably a little bit to do with the fact that there was such obviously an easy opponent in Portland. So it makes sense. The Nuggets not going to be as easy, but if they're like starving for scoring or they're getting blown out, which is also highly possible with Jokic likely to play, then I think Jaden Hardy is going to be in there at the end as well, getting some more minutes. So he's the only one I'm really looking at here. I do want to find a way to get assists for them. Spencer Dinwiddie is reasonable to expect him to get the dimes here. He's at 5.5. And if you look at the last 2 games, really, when he's actually played and started for this team with Luka and Kyrie out, he's talking about 10 potential assists and 14 against Portland. And that 14 only turned into 5, but that only makes me like it more because that was an abnormality right there, right? He should be getting more than that. And the Blazers also really bad at limiting assists, but not as bad as the Nuggets here. So I think we do need to take the starting point guard's assists at a low number like 5.5 for Dinwiddie as the starter in this one. This is looking like a good bet at minus 110. I will say too, although I don't want to bet on anything for the Nuggets yet, I will if we do have Aaron Gordon in especially, and Murray sure, but especially Aaron Gordon, I really like the assists for Jokic. And the way I always play the assists is just take the triple-double number because if he's going to get 10 rebounds, he's going to get 10 points. It's only about the assists in terms of will he or won't he get a triple-double. We're getting plus 105 for him to get 10 assists or plus 110 even, if you just go to either of these sites like Bet365 or any of the other ones that are showing you plus money for 10 assists for Jokic. I'm very willing, I strongly believe that the triple-double number for all those sites will be better than the assist number. So you might as well take that because death taxes and 10 and 10 as far as the points and rebounds go for Nikola Jokic. As we look at Kings and Bulls, we do have a couple guys, pretty important guys that are on the injury report for both teams. Kobe White is questionable, and De'Aaron Fox is also questionable once again in jeopardy of missing, I believe, his 3rd or 4th straight game at this point, at least 3rd, maybe 4th for D Fox. So we got to wait to see what happens there. But I do like the Vooch bet here at 18.5. I think we might get a slightly better number if Kobe White is ruled in. So I'm willing to wait just a second to see if we can get anything better. But if 18.5 is still there in the morning, this is going to be a bet for me for Vooch. And part of the reason there is going to be, I mean, you look at how he scores and how bad this sack defense is against his exact player type, then it makes sense, right? So you look at the pick and roll man, PNR roll man. They are 4th worst limiting points to that play. They are 10th worst limiting points to the post up, and maybe most importantly, they are 30th, dead last in the league, limiting the spot up shot. So that's what Vooch is doing. You can see he's taking 31% of his shots from above the break up from the 3-point line, and he's also taking then the other 59%, basically the other 60% of his shots are coming from inside the paint or right next to the basket, even more specifically. So this is where Sacramento is vulnerable. Although they're second best at the rim, they're 25th in terms of limiting points above the break. They're 29th limiting stuff in the extended paint area, which is really important for Vooch as well because he is doing a lot of post up, baby hook, and a little push shot occasionally from that area as well. So I think his points are looking good here against Domas and the Kings. I will also say, if there is no D Fox tomorrow, I think Malik Monk on the dimes is a really good look here. I mean, honestly, even if Fox is in, Monk has been the guy getting higher potential assists and looking to facilitate a little bit more than D Fox, who's certainly looking for his shot a ton these days since Mike Brown left. kind of making me wonder, was the only reason D Fox didn't shoot 25 times a game when Mike Brown was there was because Mike Brown was there. And that seems to be the case. But for Malik Monk, if D Fox is out, I love the plus money we get for over 6.5 assists against the second worst team limiting assists in the league after the Nuggets, which is the Chicago Bulls. One look that I have here for the Pacers and the Cavs is going to be the big man, and that's Miles Turner. And he's another guy where I like to look at how his minutes sort of play out when he's going up against teams that have big men and are very good and strongest down low, which we know the Cavs, a big strength of their team. If it's not obviously Donnie Mitchell and Darius Garland, but the other two of the big four, Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. And if you look at the numbers for Miles Turner going back to last season against this team, pretty good numbers against them head to head in 23-24, over in 3 of 4. One game that he went under 29 minutes, only took 10 shots and didn't get to the free throw line, which he normally does against this team because he actually has to go down low and bang with these guys. And that's a big reason for it. So the main thing that drew me to him was how much he spots up as well. And if you look at the way that the Cavs defend the spot up this season, they are 17th. That would be where they're a little bit weaker. And then posting up as well, which is only because they leave their guys on an island. So they're not really looking to help out when Jared Allen or Evan Mobley get posted up. So they might give up a few more points from there. But in the end of the day, this is also a really good defense. It's just 13.5 points is a pretty low number for Miles. When on the season, he's averaging 15, but it's an inconsistent number for him. Like if you look at the entirety of his season so far, in 36 games, he's hit over 13.5 half the time. So it's really just a matchup play. It's not one that I've put in yet, but it's somebody that I'm looking at because I do think there's some correlation between him probably playing about 30 to 32 minutes in this game and because of the help that's needed, and that being a good amount of time and volume for him to be able to get the points. In the same boat on the other side, I kind of like Max Strus over 8.5 points, and I'm waiting to see about a few more books putting up stuff for him. I want to see how other numbers come out and compare. Probably be able to get 8.5 for a good number in the morning anyway. Might even be able to get a little bit better, but we'll see. I think 8.5 around minus 115, minus 120 will be around. I just like to wait for like all of the books to have numbers out so that we can get a little bit more market pressure where DraftKings, FanDuel, more people that have books, the more people betting, the more information that we're going to get. And that'll push the numbers in our favor most of the time. So for Max Strus, I think 8.5 is still a pretty good number for him. It's about the minutes. And also what the weirdest thing ever is that this Pacers team is 4th worst limiting spot up. And that's what we look for with Max Strus, is spot up threes. And as what's weird about it is that last season, if I put this on 23-24, this Pacers team was the best team limiting spot ups to spot up points to spot up shooters is what I'm trying to say. Guys on the catch and shoot, they wouldn't double team. They would stick to their guy, and that would leave the ball handler one-on-one with his defender, but they wouldn't allow the spot up shooters on the outside to get their shots off. That was last season. This season, even though they have basically the same personnel and the same coach, things are a little bit different, and they are a little bit better against the pick and roll ball handler as opposed to playing against the spot up shooter. So Max Strus is someone that I'm going to be eyeing in the morning and probably dropping that one in the VIP channel. I have a couple thoughts here on this Wizards Thunder game, and it's actually on 2 Wizards players to have pretty good games. For Jordan Poole, I'm not looking for him to score, but I always consider assists for the point guard going up against OKC because they force the ball out of the point guard's hands. I would also consider turnovers. In fact, while I'm talking about it, let me see what it is here. 3.5 is plus money for him to get 4 turnovers in this game. The last game he had 4 turnovers against them in 38 minutes, and he's somewhat of a giant killer. Shout out Free Sauce in the VIP, one of the VIP cappers in there, also in the free section of the Discord, who pointed out that Jordan Poole goes off when he plays against really good teams, had 31 in this last game, also had 6 assists alongside it, and had 7 assists on just 8 potentials. Well, we're getting plus money for him to get 5 assists in this game. You can get it at plus 135 for him to get the 5 dimes. Just had the 8 assists. 31 points though on 20 shots. I got to expect this team, this OKC squad, to maybe at least put a little bit more effort on defense and limiting him and keeping the ball out of his hands. I mean, they still won by like 18 in the game that they played at home against this squad, but they're on the road. You don't want to mess around. Just end this thing. Keep the ball from keep Jordan Poole from pulling those threes and take away and give him the assists by allowing the other guys catch and shoot guys, which is how OKC gives up most of their points. They're also pretty bad limiting the catch and shoot. If I scroll down here, they are 22nd limiting spot up points. So that's what I expect to happen in this game. Although Jordan Poole went off in the last one from above the break and made a ton of threes, I'm not taking under on his points by any means, but I think 4.5 assists for plus 135 over that is a good number. And in correlation with that would be the spot up shooter that I expect to do well in this one. Alex Sarr is at 10.5. And that's in part because this is a very good defense defense. But once again, it's vulnerable against the spot up. And that's how he's scoring the majority of his points. 28% of his points come off of spot up shots. And I think he'll be available for a few more of those here against OKC. And he didn't play against OKC in this last one, but he's not the best matchup for Isaiah Hartenstein, who is somewhat versatile, but Alex Sarr is much quicker than him, should be able to get his shot off against Hartenstein, which leads me to like over 10.5, as he's averaging 11.7 on the season. And if you look at the shot attempts, it's really all about how much is he shooting. And over the course of and is he getting 25 minutes? Because when he's getting 25 minutes, he's shooting at least 12 times. And over the course of basically, like if I put this at how many games has he played 25 plus minutes and filter it that way, we look at this, basically you can see here the last, I'm going back to like the middle to end of December, like the 19th or the 15th around here. That's basically like 11 games in a row that he's playing 25 plus minutes, looking at 12 plus shots. He's a rookie. And this is the point in the season where they're just going to keep developing him and asking him to do more, especially as they sit the rest of their lineup, right? Like Malcolm Brogdon not playing in this game. So I like the look here for Sarr. As long as he's getting 25 plus minutes, he's over in 16 of 19 on this 10.5 number. And we're getting pretty good odds at minus 115. As we roll out of here, quick reminder, I'll be back on Monday with the live show, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Jump in there and bring your bets. We'll go over that stuff together as you jump in the comments and let me know what you want to look at, and we look at that stuff together. So shout out live show producer David. He'll be back on there with the ones and twos for us. So until I see y'all then, happy betting.